My name is Jennifer Miller. I teach biology and anatomy and physiology at Dover High School.
Robert Eschbach. I'm a science teacher at Dover Area High School.
My name is Bertha Spar. I am the science department chair at Dover Area High School.
In around the beginning of 2003, about a board member who was questioning how we taught evolution.
The big thing had to do with the approval of a new biology book. It was placed on hold for a year, and we didn't think too much of it at the time.
There became more and more questions about how we taught evolution.
We thought we had explained ourselves, everything was okay, they were fine with what how we taught evolution.
And again, it came time to order the textbooks, and that's when things started they saw an opportunity that they could basically keep us from getting new textbooks unless we agreed or unless we were told we had to also incorporate intelligent design into our curriculum.
I guess then the big thing was the October board meeting when intelligent design was actually, the words were put into our curriculum. And then of course we have the, I guess in December the lawsuit was filed.
Well, almost by definition, intelligent design is not science. It's not testable. It invokes supernatural explanations, and by definition, this is not how science works.
Intelligent design is a very specific proposal put forward about 15 years ago, originally by Philip Johnson in a book called Darwin on Trial. Intelligent design proposes that certain structures inside cells are so irreducibly complex that evolution never could have produced them.
Science is based on its scientific method and being able to test and verify things.
Evolution is such an incredibly well-supported way of understanding everything in biology that it is not going to disappear. It is here to stay. Darwin was right. Intelligent design, on the other hand, proposes that the evolution theory has shortcomings, that there are gaps in it.
And then to attribute those gaps to tearing down that theory of evolution, and from there they would attribute then what couldn't be explained by evolution as God must have created it.
I think the big problem for my students is that a lot of them coming from fundamentalist religions are faced with the choice, which is given to them by their faith. You either choose evolution or God, not both.
I think it's a gimmick to pit science against religion, a way in which to diminish the credibility of science or to imply that religion has some kind of scientific content that it actually doesn't have.
It was even our suggestion that intelligent design be taught either in philosophy, in comparative religions, in some other elective course, but we felt it had no business in the science curriculum.
It's unreasonable to ask science teachers to teach religion.
I'm not qualified to teach creationism. I've never had any courses in creationism or intelligent design.
I think it would be wonderful in a class considering, for instance, what is the meaning of a worldview? What's the scientific worldview? What's the religious worldview? How can those two things be merged together in the same person as they are in me?
I have to say that when the curriculum went through in October, the emails that we were getting initially were, please stand up to your school board.
We believed that science is science, and intelligent design we believed was not science. And so we stood together as a group.
And we have to stand with teachers who are standing their ground in terms of what they are teaching in their classroom.
If ID makes its way into a science classroom, that's going to reflect a fundamental misunderstanding of what science is and how it works. And having our kids walk away with a fundamental misunderstanding of what science is
to cheat them out of the kind of education that they're going to need to be responsible citizens and workers for the 21st century.
I'm the daughter of a minister.
I grew up in a faith-based household. I have no trouble combining my science with my religion.
I go to church every Sunday. I'm a Sunday school teacher.
I believe in God.
I'm a Christian.
I believe that God created the world, but I think he did it through evolution. There's no, he's not any less powerful to me that it happened naturally. I'm a scientist and I look for those natural causes.
I believe that science is the way to understand the natural world, and that faith is the way to understand questions that science can't answer, like why are we all here, and why does it matter, and is there a God, and does he care about me? One of the great tragedies of the intelligent design furor is the impression that many people are receiving that you've got to be in one camp or the other. That if you accept evolution as the way in which living things are related to each other, you are therefore saying there is no God. That is a terribly unfortunate and an unnecessary position to put people in, especially young people.
I've never had a problem with seeing how God's hand works in nature.
In fact, most mainstream religions, Judaism, much of Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism, don't have problems with concepts of evolution.
Evolution, as well as anything else science teaches us about the world, is a very exciting thing, and it opens up new possibilities for them in thinking about God and humanity's relationship to God, and it's not threatening at all. It's actually challenging and exciting.
Agnosticism, atheism, creationism, intelligent design, theistic evolutionism, all of those ought to be worthy of discussion. I think a young person is interested in those things and ought to have a chance to hear about them, but not in science class. Evolution and faith are entirely compatible in my perspective. I know of no real discordance between their perspectives. They look at different questions.
Different domains of the world. Science only has to do with the natural world. Religion, of course, has to do with a belief in the origins of everything that we have, in the questions of the deep meaning of life.
But they're actually quite complementary, and for me as a believer, I find both of them incredibly important and powerful in my daily life. Surveys would tell you that 40% of scientists today believe in a God who answers prayer. But it would probably be a good thing if scientists like myself, who are believers, would explain why, from our perspective, we find no difficulty putting these two views together, and also why intelligent design was not the way to do it. And it will make faith look foolish, and that will be a terrible tragedy. I'm sure educators, particularly high school teachers, feel like they're caught in a terrible crossfire. They are far and away the heroes of this story, trying to convey the excitement of science and trying to get young people excited about this, both as potential consumers and some of them as practitioners.
And I hope teachers will know that the entire scientific community is behind them, no matter what disciplines people come from. We're tremendously proud of the efforts of teachers throughout this country, throughout the world, in order to stand up against these pressures. Teachers can, teachers have the tools. Teachers are not alone.
It's time to put the battles to rest, abandon the battlements. Let's get back together in the middle ground that people have almost forgotten is there, and celebrate science and celebrate faith.
You know, I feel good. I feel stronger, I guess, as a person, as someone that, because of going through all this, I couldn't live with myself if I didn't stand up and, do this and, stand up for what I believe is right.